Okay, Liz, you have an intro for us today? Or did you come prepared, or are you going to improvise?
Gonna improv.
Oh, those are always great. Lewis.
Be professional. Damn, we have a guest.
He has a company.
God, you're making us look bad. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiot friends talk about movies. And today, we're going to talk about how... Nope.
He was about to do it. He was about to do it.
That one.
Hello, cinephiles, and welcome to Silver Screen Sips, a podcast where three idiot friends talk about movies. And today, we're going to remember the glory of the wonderful Brendan Fraser.
Remember? It sounded like he's dead.
No, it's just that he's been practically blackballed by Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly...
Because he was for a while because of some of the things he said, and now it's like he's the nicest guy in the world and standing ovations and...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, this is our special guest, Jose. Say hi.
Yeah.
He just started talking. Say hi, Jose.
It was like, who's the fourth member?
He made himself right at home.
Isaiah, you're out.
Oh.
Yeah.
All
This
right,
is our intervention. You're out of the club.
Has my tweets just been too much,
Yes,
you guys?
you almost got us banned off Twitter off your first tweet.
Hey, man. Joke was worth it. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's always worth
Anyways. Okay. So speaking of Brendan Fraser, let's jump into our
New segments this week in Hollywood.
Thank you. You have such a newscaster voice.
Thanks.
Oh, I bought a nice mic, Jose, and it was supposed to come in today, and obviously it didn't. And I'm very fucking sad about it because I really wanted it.
Well, let me know when you get the mic and I'll come back because I can't work like this. So.
Unprepared, unprofessional.
Yeah, that's this whole podcast.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Aw.
Chaos is
Hell
the
yeah,
way.
brother.
Isaiah, go ahead. Start us off.
All right, so this week in Hollywood, Brendan Fraser, the man best known for his role in The Mummy, is now starring in a psychological drama called The Whale, directed by Darren Aronofsky. While making its world premiere at the Venice International Film Festival, The Whale was celebrated with a 6-minute standing ovation for our leading man. He started to break down and cry in appreciation for the standing ovation. Many have deemed The Whale's that Fraser role is going to be in as a comeback for the actor. The psychological thriller will be hitting theaters December 9th. If you want to go check it out. On to you, Beth.
Oh, back to you, Beth. Speaking of the Venice International Film Festival, Don't Worry, Darling, which is a movie directed by Olivia Wilde, starring Florence Pugh and, for some reason, Harry Styles, is currently receiving a lot of spotlight due to a rumor being spread across the internet. Now, this film has been getting a lot of backlash lately, but the main issue right now is that fans believe there is a feud between Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde. But Wilde stated during one of the press tours that, quote, "Florence is a force. We are so grateful that she is able to make it tonight despite being in production. As for all of the endless tabloid gossip and noise out there, the internet feeds itself. I don't feel I need to contribute to it," end quote. The movie is set to premiere on September 23rd of this year, and I, for one, am super excited for it, and I'm just ignoring the gossip.
In honor of Disney Plus Day, which is Thursday, September 8th, classic Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney animated movies are returning to theaters. AMC Theaters has revealed that Cars, Rogue One, Thor Ragnarok, and Kanto and Newsies are all returning to theaters.
Sorry.
Yes.
It's the news theater. It's the news
Newsies.
anchor voice. It's great. And Newsies.
And Newsies. The films will play in select AMC theaters from September 8th to September 19th. So now is your chance to go see some of your favorite Disney movies in theaters again. Go fuck yourself. That one's from Isaiah. Anyway, tickets are only $5 and audiences can get a free poster. In addition, Disney Plus subscribers will have access to a fountain drink and cameo-sized popcorn combo for an additional $5.
actors Sean Penn and Ben Stiller have now been permanently banned from Russia due to their outspoken support for Ukraine during the ongoing invasion. 2 actors now among a list of about 25 new names to be banned from Russia by the Russian Foreign Ministry, which is okay. I have no comment.
Great comment.
Great comment. No comment. What are you talking about?
Oh my God. So, getting ready for the spooky season, because so are we. Hulu has released its first pictures of the upcoming reboot of Hellraiser, featuring actress Jamie Clayton as Pinhead. The movie is directed by David Bruckner and is set to be a completely reimagined version of the film and not a remake, as it debuts the first female version of the character Pinhead. The film is scheduled to release on October 7th of this year, and it might just be a perfect way to kick off the season of Halloween.
I think I'm more excited for Hocus Pocus too, but
Oh, hell yeah.
For sure you're tired of hearing us talk about Top Gun Maverick, because I'm sure as hell I am. But this is newsworthy of sharing. Top Gun Maverick has officially become the 5th highest grossing domestic film ever. The movie has grossed over $701 million in domestic box office sales and $740,400,000 in international receipts for a cumulative total of over $1.44 billion.
Jesus. Anyways, that concludes This Week in Hollywood. You can find all of our sources cited on our Discord in the Sources channel. Now is the moment we've all been waiting for. Isaiah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience on Cinema Day? That was technically like a week ago, because this comes out on the 12th. So tell us about it.
Well, here down live, well, not live, but reporting from your local movie theater that I happen to work at and, was working at for National Cinema Day. It was hell. And let me tell you why. We're just going to go through the stories that I had written down from when I walked out of the building.
Oh, you wrote them. Oh, this is great.
Down. So
wait, before you continue. Picture it. Sicily,
1943.
It was collectively, all of my coworkers all collectively agree this was a shared trauma that we will never like to go through again, due to the fact that it was basically Christmas. And if you don't know, Christmas is the busiest day for every movie theater. Every single movie sells out. It doesn't matter what it is.
That is crazy to me.
Every manager, every person that works in the building will have a shift that day. You will be going.
That's horrible.
All right. And so imagine that. That was National Cinema Day, except we only had half the crew and only 2 managers.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
All right. So we were massively understaffed. It was not fun.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
How long was your shift?
My shift was, felt longer, but it was about 8 hours.
But it felt like Sicily 1943.
I don't know about that. There was just too many children. All right. For some reason, there was just so many kids. Now, even like a lot of the customers were like, why are there so many kids? We didn't understand it. It's probably because it was $3 and everybody got their allowance and they're like, hey, we're just going to drop our kids off.
That's it. Get rid of the children.
Exactly.
Was it worse than the Gru movie?
It wasn't for the Gru movie. The Minions isn't even in theaters.
No. I mean, was it worse than that? Was it worse than that? Like with the kids?
It was definitely worse than that.
Okay.
Oh, it was 10 times worse than that. I'd rather have that.
Wow.
It was so sad. We felt bad. Everybody felt bad for the crew and the managers because there was only 2 of them and one left halfway through the door. I mean, through the day.
Halfway through the door.
The other half.
So it was just absolute madness all freaking night. Oh, and then it happens. We have an issue. This guy comes up to me, goes, hey, there's some people sitting in my seat. And I'm like, what movie are you trying to see? He's like, oh, I'm trying to see The Invitation. And I'm like, what theater is it? He's like, Theater 8. And I was like, but Invitation's in Theater 9. Turns out, last night, one of the managers had switched the showings, but not the theater. So everybody was going to The Invitation when, in fact, it was actually Top Gun Maverick. And so they sold the seats and they were overlapping.
God bless.
So
That's awful.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of people in The Invitation that needed to be in Top Gun and a bunch of people in Top Gun that need to be in The Invitation. And the problem was that they're 2 different size theaters. So there was extra seats in Top Gun. And so the people that needed to switch didn't have seats. So I had to do a bunch of refunds and a bunch of passes, and it was a mess.
Oh my
and
God.
So it was just constant chaos throughout the whole night. And in fact, it was so bad. Not even just our location had issues. It was pretty much all across the country that had issues. There was not enough staff to handle any of the crowd.
It's like Black Friday.
It was Black Friday, half the crew. It did not work, and so it was quite hellish. And there was more, but there's on stuff I can't say. So
Now, there is one thing you forgot to mention. That was the one I was hoping you'd talk about, was the popcorn.
oh right, yeah. So it happened the next day, but yeah, that weekend, my manager, we have the popcorn machine is made of like, it has glass doors, well, plexiglass doors, and he just happened to shut it a little too hard, and so the glass shattered, and so there's glass and popcorn all over the popcorn.
I didn't know the glass shattered. I just thought it broke.
Oh no, he closed the door really fast, and it just apparently shattered, and so there was glass and popcorn all up in the popper.
Oh my God.
Are you fucking kidding me? He broke plexiglass doors.
That's incredible.
That's impressive.
But yeah, that there was probably a bunch of other stuff that happened. But that is my story for right now. But yeah, National Cinema Day was an absolute disaster. I hope we get more people for next year, because they're definitely going to do it next year, because they made a whole lot of money.
Was this like the first National Cinema Day ever?
Mhm.
Oh.
Yes, it was the very first time they ever did it.
I tried using the app, but it wasn't working.
Yeah, there was so much traffic on even the registers, because the registers are on the same network as the apps and the websites, because they all have to exist. They have to like talk to each other to be like, hey, these seats are taken. That everything was just slowing down. So even the registers were slowing down and like loading forever. So it didn't help.
Oh, wow.
God bless.
I'm glad you made it out alive, Isaiah. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I want to throw like a party, not a party, but like give a little gift basket or something to all the people that worked that day, because my God, we were it was not fun. Shout out real quick to all of my coworkers that worked that day. You know who you are. Thank you. You made life bearable that night. We all collectively were like, hell no, this is hell.
Aw. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Well, Lewis,
Yes.
what do you got for us today for your drink? I need one now.
Yeah, give us a drink.
Welcome to Big Lou's Big Brews. Today,
Hello.
we're going to talk about our Blackbeard cocktail.
Ooh, that's like Jose.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, you guys have a lot in common. You're both bald and you have great beards.
Hell yeah, brother!
Thank you, Beth.
Of course, anytime.
Thank you. Anyway, so I have two versions of this drink. The first one seems like a very fancy cocktail. It's the creation of a Daniel Yoon, a bartender at PDT back in 2008. I've never heard of this first ingredient, but it's called Aquavit.
Mm-hmm.
Aquavit and pineapple juice have always had a strange, beautiful friendship. Blackberries added to the mix makes for an oddly wonderful triad. The drink is poured unstrained into the glass, blackberry guts and all. It's then topped with crushed ice, which forms a sort of lid over the berry matter, keeping it from coming out of your mouth as you sip. Typical cube ice won't have this effect. If that's what you have, you might prefer to double strain the drink instead of drinking chunks of berry with each mouthful. It sounds like I'm drinking a strawberry lemonade from Starbucks. All right, so our ingredients are going to start with 4 whole blackberries.
4.
We have 1.5 ounces of gin,
Okay.
0.75 ounces of aquavit,
Whatever that is.
0.75 ounces of pineapple juice.
Whatever that is.
What do you mean, whatever that is?
I don't know. I'm just being
A jerk.
Tomfoolery.
Continue.
Half an ounce of lime juice, half an ounce of agave nectar, which could also just be simple syrup.
Okay.
Your instructions are as follows. You're going to muddle the blackberries in a shaker. You're going to add your remaining ingredients, top it with ice, and shake vigorously. Pour this drink unstrained if you have crushed or pebble ice, so that good ice from like Chick-fil-A
Ooh, yeah.
or Wawa, or you're going to double strain it if you don't have the good ice into a short glass. Top it with more ice, crushed or pebble, preferably, and garnish with fresh mint and some blackberry. Let's see. Since I happened to check what aquavit was while I was talking, it is a Scandinavian spirit that is distilled from grain and potatoes and flavored with herbs.
So it's like a vodka?
No, it's more like a
Gin?
gin, but like a baby gin.
Baby gin.
Baby gin.
Yeah, because it's not like as strong.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's more like a flavor one, like a liqueur. Anyway,
Mm.
I'm going to give this a personal rating of a 4. because I actually very much love blackberry drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And gin, this one has a special take with the gin that would just give me a newfound understanding of my love for gin, as it is one of my least explored liquors.
I would have to agree on that. I also haven't really had a chance to try different gin drinks, and I'm open to it, but I just have not really had the opportunity to do so. Jose?
No, it sounds intriguing for sure. I do enjoy gin. Right now, I have a bottle of the Botanist that I've been getting into, and that's good.
Good choice.
Yeah, but a nice cocktail like that sounds good. I'd probably give it, obviously without having it, probably like a 7 or an 8, I think.
We go up to 5 here.
1 to 5? Okay, so then I would give that.
I don't know why. We just did it, and we've stuck with it.
Hey, if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. I'll give it a 3.
3. Okay.
Straight
That's
mid.
All right then.
Okay.
very much equivalent.
Straight mid.
Okay.
Jose will never say that. He won't stoop to our level.
No. Better than us, let's be honest.
And that's the thing. I'm more of a bourbon drinker, so
That's fair.
That's a very Jose thing to say.
Respectable.
mhm.
Isaiah.
So you said Aquavit is basically like a baby gin.
Almost.
So we have 1.5 parts gin and then 3/4
More gin.
of baby gin.
Essentially.
I give it a 4 out of 5. I'd like to try this. This sounds very nice.
It's refreshing.
I like agave, by the way, too. So
Yeah, that's a nice. I like that idea of having the agave in it more than the simple syrup, like you suggested.
I mean, agave is just simple syrup, but
But isn't agave usually more like flavored, whereas simple syrup is more of just like sugar water?
yeah, I mean, it's agave has more of like this a sweet flavor to it because it comes from a plant rather than like just distilling water with sugar.
Mhm.
So
It sounds refreshing and it looks pretty. And like I said, I haven't really tried a lot of gin. So this sounds like a great stepping stone, I guess would be the word.
today we're gonna have a fun with a second version of a Blackbeard.
Number 2.
This one, it was thought to have originated in Stirling, Scotland during the late 1990s. Take 2 ounces of Bacardi Carta Blanca light rum,
Oh,
pour it into a pint glass. You top that off with half a pint of stout beer,
Ew.
okay.
most likely Guinness,
Oh, hell no.
and then you top that off with a little bit of Coke or Pepsi.
Ugh, what the
Oh, the only ingredient. Wow.
You lost me on that one.
He said you lost me.
I think we all collectively just agreed at this very moment that that's a 1 out of 5.
I don't know. I would try this.
Oh,
Lou.
Lewis.
Oh, no.
No, I was good with the rum, but
We're gonna give it okay, so you guys are gonna collectively give it a 1. I'm gonna give it a 2. Just because I would try it.
Oh,
just
I'll
to see what
try
happens.
it, but I'm not gonna like it.
I'm not going to try it.
I don't like any of the ingredients you mentioned.
Well, I love
Coke-
Guinness. so
That's,
I mean,
that's literally extra hard Coke.
Oh wait, I do like Coke. So okay, I like 1 out of 3 ingredients. Yeah, that's a hard pass for me. You said a pint of rum?
it's 2 ounces of rum,
Oh,
half a pint of beer.
Oh, my God.
that makes the. Oh my god, that'd be. If that was the case, I would be like, yeah, fuck it. This is drinkable. I'll drink it. Moving on. Yes, thank you, Jose.
Moving on. Thank you for coming to Big Lou's Big Brews today.
Yeah.
That's all our time. Now we go to Beth's best part of the day.
Yes, I have a great game for today. Now, last episode we did guess the pirate slang, where we found out what cackle fruit is. Do you know what cackle fruit is, Jose?
no.
It's
Cockle.
an egg. No?
Oh, Google.
Close.
No.
Anyways, yeah, I guess pirates used to call it an egg, a cackle fruit, because of the way that was the noise that like a chicken would make.
It has, yeah,
when
the
it was
cackle
like,
head.
Thank you.
Thank you for the reenactment, Lewis.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna do something similar today. This will probably be a little bit easier. We are going to guess what part of the ship this word is. So I will.
No.
Yes, I will. I obviously took out the ones that I figured people would know, like
Where's the poop deck?
Deck. Sure, of course, you guys would say poop deck. So I have 3. And yeah, you guys are gonna just guess what part of the ship I'm describing or is saying, whatever. Yeah, I'm never good at explaining what my games are, if you haven't noticed. So the first word is bilge.
That's the bottom of the boat.
You say the bottom of the boat?
Yeah, the hole.
The whole.
The hole. Okay. Isaiah?
The whole boat. No.
What's your guess?
Damn, Jose's got a good joke. I mean, Jose's got a good choice there. I want to say it's a part on the mast. I want to say it's like somewhere on the mast, like
you can pick the same answer if you agree with
the crow's nest.
Not that part. I'm talking about like somewhere, like if there's different sections of the giant pole, the bulge would be like the bottom of the said pole.
I think Jose and I both
Yeah,
thought it was
we're
similar.
on the same page.
I was like, so where does the stripper go in this sense? Lewis, what is your guess?
I'm actually going to agree with Jose. I think it has something to do with like the bottom of the boat.
Okay, so you guys Jose and Lewis are pretty much correct.
Uh-huh.
It's the lowest part inside the ship. It's within the hull, actually, itself. It is the first place to show signs of leakage, and the bilge is often dank and musty and considered the filthiest part of a ship. So 1 for 3. Ding, ding, ding. Next question, or next word is bow.
You mean the bow?
The bow. Fuck. I said that with such confidence.
You did too.
The bow.
The bow. All right, Bo Burnham's in the back of the ship. That's my guess.
Actually, I would say that Bo Burnham was in the front of the ship.
Where do you think Bo Burnham is, Jose?
The front of the boat.
Ding, ding, correct. It's the front of the ship. The bow is in the front. Next is, and the last, is starboard.
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 Right side of the boat.
Okay. Isaiah, Lewis?
I'm going to go with Jose's answer because he just said it was, right side of the bip?
I'm going to guess. Yeah, we're all going to agree with Jose.
Yeah, everyone's like, Jose, why don't you answer first?
Like a group project in class.
Yeah, he's group weird.
So everyone says it's the right side of the ship?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you all can fuck off. You're right.
Give me a real fight.
That's all I have. I don't have any other ones written down. Fuck. Isaiah, dig me out of this hole. What kind of facts you got?
Yeah, we got a lot of facts today.
Anything about the parts of the ship by any chance?
Nope. Sorry, you can't redeem that one.
Just the stripper pole.
It's the stripper pole. Our good old stripper pole.
Right behind, right below the hose nest. I mean, the crow's nest. Sorry.
So, like our last movie, this one also started and it didn't have a finished script when they started filming.
Really? I had no idea.
Sao Fang's map, which is a big thing in the movie if you've seen it, is meticulously designed, and when they're moving the rings on it, they're actually made of brass rings, and it was pretty thick. In order for the map to be moved because of the humid climate, because if they made it out of actual paper, it would have warped and the tumblers would not have been able to move, and so they would have been stuck. Also, the designer who was working on the map, there's some like blood splatter on the map. It's real blood because he pricked his finger and just started like flicking it on there, and then he like dripped his blood on there and then just let it dry.
Did he do that on purpose?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought that would be a better answer than on accident.
He's just very dedicated to his job, I guess. Now, Beth, last episode you had mentioned about how you like the design of J.V. Jones's crew and how like meticulously drawn they are and how there's so much detail. So the guy you would like to thank, his name is Crash McCurry.
Thanks, Crash. That's a great name.
He is the creature designer who drew up the concept art for Davy Jones's crew and Davy Jones himself, and he's the one you get to thank for the crazy designs that are them.
Apologies.
What the fuck was that?
No, my phone went off. I apologize.
Your ringtone is people
It
screaming?
sounded like people being
No,
murdered.
I opened something.
Wow.
I apologize.
A murder.
He opened the basement and they started screaming.
Guys, shut up and run a quarter podcast here. Now we're gonna get into some weird ones. So the to film the multiple jack sequence, which is what they termed it as, they called it the multiple jack sequence. They had Johnny Depp go through multiple versions of his personality, of Jack Sparrow's personality, and then just repeated the camera movements exactly the same, and then they overlapped the footage in post.
Multiple jacks.
So, did they have it? Oh my god! did they have the camera set on a rig, or did they actually? Okay, I was gonna say, because if they did that by hand, that takes a lot of skill.
There was multiple rigs. If you watch this, if you see behind the scenes, you can tell that the cinematographer was very bored because he was like, "There's nothing to do. It's just doing the same sequence over and over again. The camera's on automatic." He's like, "I got nothing to do."
It works smarter, not harder.
Exactly. But while they're filming it, to kind of like be able to get Johnny Depp to able to respond basically to himself and having to respond to himself, they would have an actor stand in for another Johnny and then play his lines through a loudspeaker so that he was able to react to himself. They also did this by overlaying the footage in real time, so they were able to watch like the take they just did in sequence with the other takes they did, so to see which one is kind of like how it's working well. And as they gradually went through each take for a different shot, they would kind of fade out the last guy, and there would be levels of transparency. The crew, out of all the multiple jacks that he got to do, the chicken jack was obviously the favorite, the crew favorite. There was, and to do some of the scenes, they had 12 Jack Sparrows identically dressed at the same time on set. Now, to film the tiny jacks that are like in his hair when he's talking to himself, they actually built humongous dreadlocks that mimic his hair, and then they suspend him in the air, and so he's just hanging there inside the hair. These like giant versions.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if that was because it looked kind of like it was just a ginormous dreadlock, and
it was. Great. They apparently Gore Verbinski is a very big proponent of having practical effects as much as possible, and then fixing what you need in post.
Amen.
If it's possible. He's like, but
shout out to Gore Verbinski.
Yeah, he's very adamant on making sure things are as practical as possible for relying on that, which is crazy too, because his background is actually in CGI editing and stuff like that. He used to do that job. He was the person that used to do the CGI shots for movies. So it's kind of ironic that he's, the guy who would be like, yeah, I wanted to be as practical as possible.
That is surprising.
Trying to help his old friends out.
Yeah. He's like, I understand the struggle.
This isn't Marvel.
So during the island meeting scene on the beach, when Davy Jones is in the little bucket, I find hilarious.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
So the guitar riff that plays as the sweeping shot goes to establish the island is actually played by Gore Verbinski himself.
Oh, really?
Nick.
Yeah, Gore Verbinski is a good guitar player, and Hans Zimmer have worked together a lot, so they're very well aware of each other's skills. And so he was like, I have a role for you. And he's like, what's up? And he had him do the guitar riff.
When I heard it, I was like, this kind of feels odd, like an odd choice.
What, that it was music. Out of place or something? Or like it was out of place?
Yeah, just because like compared to the rest of the soundtrack, it was just it felt weird to have an electric guitar just playing, because it felt very like the music felt very fitting to the era. And then there's just this guitar out of nowhere. But that is an interesting fact. I didn't know that he was the one that actually played it.
So to get the shot of the giant waterfalls at the edge of the world, producers collaborated with the Niagara Falls staff to hang a crane over the Horseshoe Falls to get a perfect view of the rushing water in order to then overlay the shot into the movie. Captain Teague's outfit is one of 3 identical outfits made from silk curtains.
Captain who?
Teague. He's
Teague.
Yeah, he's Keith. What the hell is the guy? Keith Richards.
Yes.
Keith Richards, yeah, he plays Captain Teague, the keeper of the code. Now, the Maelstrom scene were filmed in a huge warehouse about the size of a small city. And so the ships were created, they were built, and then they were put on giant hydraulics and gimbals to move them around as if they were on inside like the maelstrom, like in the spinning waves.
The toilet bowl.
Yes.
Toilet bowl.
Toilet bowl. Each ship weighs about the same as a 747 airplane, which can weigh about between 152 to 220 tons.
That's a lot of tons.
That's a lot of tons.
That's a ton of tons.
It's a ton of tons. And then the Pearl itself required 1,000 gallons of oil a minute just to move it at a consistent speed.
Jeez.
What the fuck?
And keep in mind, this scene took them 3 months to film.
That's I have mixed feelings about this.
Well, yeah, okay. So, and then also to light the entire set, it took about 14,000 space lights, which are just they're giant like balloon lights that hang from the ceiling, 9 10K amp generators, and several miles worth of cables. And one of the producers was quoted saying that this is probably the most lights to light anything in the film industry at this time.
You know, I want to give them credit for that because that's impressive. But at the same time, that's a waste of a lot of energy.
After like reading all this, I have to give an appreciation to like the amount of effort that they went into doing this, because they totally could have said, screw it, we're just going to do entirely computer generated. But they straight up said, no, we're going to have actual people swinging from ropes to ships, blowing stuff up, pouring rain on them for 3 months straight to get the shots so that the actors can feel like they're in it. And they did it all pretty much entirely practically. And I got to give them credit for that. And it's kind of like, it's endearing to be like, what? They know what they're doing and that they were so dedicated to what they were doing. And I got to give it to them. The credits due, you know?
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah.
And so for our last facts for tonight, the entire company of Industrial Light and Magic worked on the film at the same time. The entire company was working on this movie at the exact same time. This is something that hadn't happened since Return of the Jedi.
That's did they just have no other projects during that time, or?
Well, the budget of this movie was about $300 million. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with they just bought them all.
Yeah.
They just said, guys, we have about 6, because they spent a lot of their time on working on the last movie because they worked on a back-to-back. So they they had a lot of less time to work on the second movie on the CG, on like all the CGI, and there was significantly way more effect shots in the third movie than there were in the second. They probably just hired the entire damn company and said, hey, you guys got no more projects. You're working on ours right now. So, but yeah, those are all our facts for today.
Nice.
Yeah, those were good.
I have
Thank you.
a fact. I don't know if you guys have talked about it before, but did you ever notice like a I don't know, like a skin blemish on Jack Sparrow's face?
Yes.
You did. Did you guys talk about it?
No. Why? You know something about it?
Well, over like through the course of all the movies, it got bigger and bigger because it was supposed to be syphilis. So.
Yeah. No, I never noticed that. Yeah,
it's on his right jaw. It just started off small and then got bigger and bigger, and it's supposed to be that he had it was a joke, in the film, but that he had.
I always was wondering, because I noticed that a lot in this film was that patch on his chin, and I was like, I didn't know what it was supposed to be, and I noticed it in the film before, and I was like, I feel like it just keeps getting bigger, but I never put that together.
There you go.
That's interesting. Look at that.
Look at
Isaiah, you're fired.
So you guys will remember that fact.
Yes.
We will.
Now I feel like I know a thing or two about a thing or two. Now, we're on to our last segment.
Made up for it.
We will start with our special guest, Jose. What
Because he knows something about something.
He knows a thing or two about a thing or two. What did you think of the film? What would you rate it? Anything?
1 through 5, or can I go all the way to 10?
5.
You know what? He's our special guest. Go all the way to 10. Fuck it.
We'll translate it.
Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll convert it. The conversion rates.
Inflation and all that. So.
Inflation.
He's giving us the inflated rate. We're going to give you the actual rate.
Okay.
I think it was just kind of with all the movies that I have seen with this whole Pirates of the Caribbean. They were fun and they were entertaining, and I had to like leave it at that and not go too deep and kind of critique it like, okay, like this is silly. Why did this happen? And so I think overall I would give it, oh gosh, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to definitely give it at least an 8.
Isaiah, that's a 3.5 for your.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you.
Is
You're
that the
welcome.
conversion?
For our Europeans out
enjoyed
there.
it.
I don't know.
I always enjoyed the ride when I was a kid, so,
Mhm.
but they were fun. It was entertaining, sure.
Okay.
Actually, Beth, that's a 4.
Okay. Lewis.
I'm just letting you know.
I know. You're probably, I know you're right. I
I whipped up my handy dandy calculator.
Yeah, and there were some parts that I didn't really like too much. And like with the we were talking about earlier with Rihanna, like whatever happened with that.
Rihanna?
You mean Zoe Saldana?
No, Naomi, what's her face?
Naomi Harris?
Yes.
She was in here?
She was Calypso or Tia, whatever you want to call her.
Oh.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, she turned into like the 50-foot woman and then a bunch of crabs.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was the actress's name.
Yeah, she turns into this huge toilet and then that's about it. And then she gets flushed and we don't see her anymore.
Yeah. So it's just little things like that. But like I said, it's a kids movie, but it was fun.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Short, it's sweet, and to the point. We need to learn to do that with ours. We go on for like 20 minutes.
Go on and more. And there was some that it was just like, oh my gosh, what am I watching here? But then there was stuff that was just kind of fun, and you see from the first one to now that the characters kind of developed from it. But
yeah, grow up with it.
I'm gonna throw in. I meant to throw in this fact earlier when Isaiah said it because it reminded me of something. I didn't know how to pronounce the word maelstrom until I played Cyberpunk. I will also give this movie a 4 out of 5. Of the first 3, actually, one of the ones, even though the rating may not be higher than the other 2, this is actually one of my favorite ones. So,
okay.
Yeah,
this is going to be interesting.
No, it's purely for the. It's not for the story. It's more for like the action and the shots. And, like in terms of a story. In terms of a story, the first one obviously beats everything. But actually going to that scene with Calypso being released and transforming into like 1,000 crabs.
If I had one superpower,
I'd become 10,000 crabs out of a 50-foot woman. Thank you.
And then the toilet.
And then become a maelstrom. The whole concept of Calypso and Davy Jones' relationship and the lead up to the fight and the maelstrom. I actually really enjoyed that. Speaking to like the old legends of Davy Jones, poetry and stuff that I went over in like high school. Samuel Tyler Coleridge, The Rhyme and the Mariner, also has a story about Davy Jones. And I think that was actually one of the things that I really enjoyed as a concept for the story. Maybe it wasn't like fleshed out fully and it was only in short tidbits, but it was nice to know about like, Davy Jones can only come to land every 10 fucking years or something like that. And there's another version of the story that's similar to this. He can come on shore for 6 months until he finds a woman who is willing to die for him to break the curse.
Interesting.
And then I don't remember how much they discussed it in the film itself, but they were talking about how Davy Jones, like, he thought she cheated on her, so he killed her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they stayed pretty accurate to the story of him?
There's a lot of different versions of Davy Jones' story. I want to say that as far as like making him a monster and making his ship this cursed ship that can never truly port and travel and carry all these spirits to the other side was pretty nice. And then even the addition of the Kraken in the second one was interesting. But I think they stayed, like, the third film definitely stayed more to the original story of Davy Jones rather than like when he was first introduced in the second episode, the Jar of Dirt. Not that it's actually like I don't want to call this a fact. So Jack's father, Captain Edward Teague, who's obviously inspired by Blackbeard, and it's just slightly changing his name from Edward Teague. But also, I just thought he was a very fun addition to the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And watching him shoot that random pirate when he's like, "Fuck the pirate code."
Yes,
was-
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
Was pretty funny.
Pretty edgy.
Pretty edgy.
Back when Disney was edgy.
Yeah. But I have to be, I'm actually impressed with it. They were kind of dark considering the opening scene where
Yes.
all the people were getting hung, and there's that little kid that has to stand on the barrel, and then they drop him. It's like, geez, all right.
How do we open our movie? Oh, let's hang a child.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
exactly.
I want to be in that Disney executives meeting.
And just some of the funny like comic relief when Elizabeth Swann pulls like that huge shotgun thing or whatever it was from behind her when she was taking all the
The blunderbuss.
yeah, it's like where did that come out of? It's kind of a joke.
Mhm.
But then there was like one of the pirates during I forget what they were, but they were all freezing, pretty much having like going through all that. And he breaks off his big toe. I'm like,
Yeah, that I remember that, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
yeah,
all right, we're showing that." Okay.
Yeah. When they're trying to travel to Davy Jones' locker, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, that was just like right before.
It was one funny scene was the telescope.
That was funny.
Comparing like Jack Sparrow's got the little one. He's like trying to stretch it out as far as he can compared to Barbossa. So just funny, like
This is
throwing up humor in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was pretty nice.
But it's like it's good because it's like it applies to both. Like children will find that funny because it's just funny. It's like, oh, he's trying to compete with him. But then as an adult, you're like, I see what's going on here.
Yeah. And then he comes back.
Your girlfriend's named Wendy too?
Oh God. So wait, what'd you rate it, Isaiah?
I didn't rate it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Lois.
I said 4 out of 5. So
4
same
out
as
of
Jose.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go next, Isaiah?
Yeah, I got a few notes. Definitely the darkest.
Here comes the
Let me get my
thesis.
book.
Yeah.
Here
Just
comes the dissertation for his doctorate.
The movie's definitely got the darkest intro, like probably the darkest tone so far.
Mhm.
Especially just with that intro. That's freaking let's just hang some children,
casually.
However, I didn't like that this movie kept on with the theme of like sexual tones for no damn reason. It just kept on going, and they need to stop because like what do you call it? Like the guy is straight up like looking up her dress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. That was pretty cringy. I'm not gonna lie.
South Hang is like, oh, then I'll like have your fury. He's like basically just almost rapes her out of nowhere. Like this is the second time she's been raped, like attempted like a raped in this franchise. Like, come on, bro, like, everybody gotta chill out. And it's just weird. And then obviously the whole thing's about like there's just weird sexual jokes about the women all the time, and it's just I don't know. It really takes you out because you're like, okay, why? Because there's no reason for it. It's just weird. Anyway,
Mhm.
but and then the writing obviously you can tell that the script was not finished when they were doing it, which never works. I don't know why people keep on trying to do it, but they finish your scripts before you produce the movie. Damn, because you can tell because there's a moment when the dad is dead, right, and he's going through the waters, and he kind of just explains, "Oh, you got to stab the heart." I'm like, first off, how the hell do you know that? Second, because nobody told you because they killed you for asking questions that they weren't going to answer. That's why they killed you. And then, like, why are you sharing this information that has nothing to do? Like, your daughter, like, you're supposed to have this heartwarming moment with your daughter, but then you kind of just, like, reveal information that doesn't. It's a MacGuffin. He's a MacGuffin. And I thought that was kind of stupid. Also, when the ships are going through, and they're blowing up the Endeavor, and they're just like so they have the Flying Dutchman and the Black Pearl on either side of the Endeavor, and they're just shooting through it, and they don't magically go through the ship and hit each other. Like, it's a cool shot, and it is probably the best shot in the whole movie of watching Cutter just like go down the steps and everything's just blowing up across him, and he's so calm. Like, it is literally the best shot in the movie, but like that twinge of like they're showing either side getting blown up, and it's like, okay, so how did the Flying Dutchman not hit the Black Pearl?
The
That's immediately
suspension
like
of disbelief.
I couldn't suspend it enough.
Yeah, and well, that was hard for me too in a lot of scenes, but you just kind of like, okay, it's a
Exactly.
movie.
So I guess like it happened, like you have to suspend your disbelief so much throughout the movie that like I guess by that point I had reached my limit of being like, I can't suspend it anymore, bro. I'm in space at this point. And there's also just way too many plot lines in the movie. Like they have like the Flying Dutchman, they have like his curse, right? So Orlando Bloom's got to become the new captain. They have Calypso. They have the map. They have to get Jack Sparrow. They have to because he died, and then you have the whole love thing, and then you have Barbossa's thing. He's betraying everybody, and everybody's got their own little deal going on. There's just so many plot lines that I felt like they just couldn't give enough information to all of them, because you can tell there was another plot line with Jack and Cutter about the pirate brand.
I was hoping they'd talk more about it, and then they didn't.
Yeah, because obviously they knew each other and that there's like undertones there, and they kept on teasing the undertones, but then they just never mention it. It's a 3-hour movie.
Oh my god, it is.
It is a long movie.
And it makes sure you know it.
Exactly. So I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. It's not terrible. I do like it. I just feel like there was too many liberties that I had to go with, and there was just too many things that I just was like, it's taking me out of it. So, but yeah, 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. I feel like you guys are a lot more forgiving than I was.
I feel like it's always the case, Beth.
Yeah, I gave it a 2 out of 5.
2.
I really just, for a number of reasons. The main reasons, I should say the biggest reasons for me was the one that actually, because originally I rated this a 3 out of 5. But I went from a 3 down to a 2 after I saw them getting married in the middle of a fucking war. I was like, this is too cringy. Now we're like, this is some Notebook shit. Like, what the fuck? So I originally had it rated as a 3, and then I changed it to a 2 just because of that scene.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that too when I rated it.
I do. And then they're like fighting. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you just have Barbossa screaming in the background, I'll pronounce you man and wife.
Oh, speaking of Barbossa, he came in fucking clutch. He was my favorite character in the entire movie, or in the entire franchise.
Let her fly straight and true, and then right off a cliff.
So good. He plays it so well. But I agree. It's way too long of a movie. It was almost 3 hours, and it was just, there was a lot of points of the movie that I just felt weren't necessary, unless, of course, they're brought up later in the other movies. I actually have not seen the other movies after this. I actually never seen this movie all the way through until now. I always watched, like, I would always get to this one, watch the first 30 minutes, and then I would get bored and just stop. So I finally sat down and I watched the whole thing, and I was like, well, that was a waste of 3 hours. But there was some things I did like. I liked where the captain's walking down the stairs and everything, and all the explosions are happening around him. That's cool, from a film perspective, like just looking at how fucking difficult that was probably to do. That was good. And I also liked, Jack Sparrow versus Davy Jones. That was a fun little fight. I do feel like they just kind of missed. Fashion. I feel like they missed. Oh, what's the phrase? Missed the spot. Missed the. What's the fucking?
Missed
no,
the
not
mark.
Missed the mark. Thank you. They missed the mark with Davy Jones this episode, like this movie. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I just felt like he became this like wimp almost. Whereas like I feel like the last movie they made him this terrifying creature, and then it's like now he's just like.
You see a softer side of him, I think, on this one, because you see his heart was broken and all that. He was in love, and
that I was fine with. It was more of how he was around like the other captains and stuff like that. I just felt like he just felt like a side character, and I was like, oh, I just thought he was going to be more of a main character than he was.
I mean, he kind of becomes like the secondary antagonist.
Yeah. He played a role towards the end of the movie, but I just was surprised how much he just was kind of there in a lot of the scenes. It felt like, I don't know. That was just me.
I think it has to do with a mixture of, like Cutler controlling him to the point that it's like he's no longer this independent legend that you should fear. He's just a tool of the East India Company.
Emasculated him.
Yeah, essentially emasculated him. You're also seeing that vulnerable side of learning his story of Calypso and whatnot. And I think when he first meets with the other captains and whatnot, it's I don't remember how well they covered it in the meeting, but Davy Jones, like the other pirate captains were the reason Davy Jones was able to steal Calypso away in the first place. Like he had their help. So, which is why, like Calypso didn't wreck his shit. She cursed him, but she didn't like wreck his shit, many years later kind of thing.
What I really didn't get was the reasoning for everything. Because like all of this, right, is a product of, Davy Jones is really pissed off because his love was supposed to be on, he can only step on land once every 10 years, and she wasn't there on the very day that was supposed to happen. And like the reasoning behind that was, you love me. If I had shown up, you wouldn't have loved me. Like, what kind of reasoning is that? That makes no sense. It's in my nature to not show up on the only day you're allowed on land. I don't get it. That made no sense whatsoever.
Okay, so that's where Disney messed up, in that they didn't fully capture one of the versions of the story with Davy Jones, because what he believes happened on that one day he set foot on land, he believes that Calypso wasn't there because she left him for someone else. She was cheating on him with someone else. And that's why he chooses to, kill her. But instead, she curses him.
Well, wow, a misunderstanding. All of this could have been solved had someone did some communication.
Yeah.
That's the theme behind the movie. Communication is key.
Yeah. It also depends on the version of the story that you are trying to tell with Davy Jones. I actually only found this out because I was looking this up in regards to getting some more facts on the movie and whatnot before I followed up.
I think the only other things I had problems with in the film, or they're not even, this one's not so much of an issue. It's more of, I feel like they could have ended it here and it would have been perfect. Everyone kind of, all of their strings are tied, and then they untied it and they're like, oh, we're going to have 2 more now. And if they had ended it just here at 3, I think I would have been just satisfied with just the 3. But I don't know where they're going with these next 2 because I haven't seen them. But I just don't think they were necessary.
Sure. So they didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't get to, this wasn't one of the ones I rewatched before we discussed it tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong, that Jack's father mentions the plot line that ends up being what the 4th movie's about. Barbosa does, the Fountain of Youth. Okay.
I'm just going to say my last thought here, and then I am done with my rant. The only other issue I had with this film and why it is so low is because it's along the lines of what Isaiah was saying earlier, where I just felt like it was just plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, where everyone was just betraying each other to the point where the surprise factor just wasn't hitting me. I was like, well, you're just going to betray that person, so what does this matter? Kind of a thing. And I mean, it was fine at first, but after the 5th betrayal, I lost count. It made it hard to follow. I was like, wait, who's with who now? What's going on? So that was the only other thing. Other than that, I mean, the fights were still great. CGI, special effects, practical effects, music, acting, everything. Chef's kiss. That's the only beef I have with it.
A chef's kiss out of 5.
Yes, that is my rating. Jose, you want to plug yourself?
Plug myself. No.
You can find Jose on onlyfans.com.
He does content with Blue at onlylose.com.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah, brother. 2
If
baldies.
you're into bald men with beards.
And baby oil.
And baby oil? Is that what you just said?
I said it.
He said, no shame.
No, I've got nothing left to add to that, but I do want to say thank you for having me be a part of all this.
Well, thank you for joining. You were a refreshing addition.
Refreshing, yes. Just like the Blackbeard cocktail.
Ah, look at that little tie. Isaiah, you're fired again.
This was an interview to replace me. He is now.
This is just an interview.
Yeah.
You're hired.
Yeah, big announcement. So Isaiah's out. I'm in.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening to today's episode. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify at Silver Screen Sips, and Twitter at Silver Screen Sip with no S. You please email us your movie suggestions for our listeners' episode at silverscreensips@gmail.com. Our next episode for that will be on October 3rd. And that is all we have for you today. Thank you again, Jose, for joining us. And we will see you guys next Monday when we watch On Stranger Tides.
How strange.
Hell yeah, brother.
Wow. Great outro, guys.
It's about to be a strange time out here on the sea.
Clever. That was Jose, just give us one straight mid and we're good.
Say what?
Just give us one straight mid and I'll stop recording.
I think
we're never going to stop recording. Come on. You can do it.
Oh no, I don't know.
Jose,
is
our podcast straight mid?
Okay, wait a minute. This should not be. That's better than what Ellis has said.